We're talking push trucks, PA posse, really big right rear wheels, and racing on dirt. From Silver Dollar to Williams Grove, Eldora to Devil's Bowl, and of course, Knoxville. This is Winged Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. Now your hosts, Steve Post and Erin Evernham.
Hello again. Welcome in. It is MRN Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tire. Welcome aboard our favorite time of the week, talking sprint car racing, and we are so glad you've joined us. We have a great program for you today. We're going to talk to the legend, Jac Haudenschild. We're going to talk with Greg Wilson, see how his rookie tour around the World of Outlaws is going, and the All-Stars roll into Selinsgrove this weekend. We're going to talk to Steve Inch, the new general manager at Selinsgrove Speedway. We are glad you joined us. You can follow along on Twitter at Wing Nation and on Facebook at facebook.com/Wing Nation. Yes, last week, if you were with us, you know we said goodbye to Kendra. She is on her Knoxville adventure. So filling in for her here on MRN.com is our friend Erin Evernham. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Great to see you again. Just to give the story a little bit, because I know there are some newcomers here that maybe don't know your background with us. Erin started racing quarter midgets at 7, ran mini sprints up to sprint cars. In 2002, you raced with Mike Woodring in the 360. Was that kind of your breakthrough year?
Pretty much, yeah. That was my first full year in a sprint car. Ran Empire Super Sprints in New York State.
That was cool, okay. And then 2003 became the first woman to qualify for the Knoxville Nationals. Man, that had to be wild.
That was actually the big step.
The big step, yeah.
Yep, I'm still the only woman to ever qualify for the Knoxville.
What was that week like?
Pretty amazing, honestly. Of all my racing memories, that's up there in the top 3.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I can still remember my qualifying lap because qualifying is so important at Knoxville Nationals. And going down the backstretch, I could see up on the screen my time, and I remember being like I don't know, I wasn't yelling in the car, but I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
Because a good time trial can ruin your Knoxville Nationals, or you can still mess it up with a good one. But boy, it's a lot easier.
So many points, and then the heat race at that point. Like now they invert the top 10, then it inverted the entire. So I think I started 12th in my heat race.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I can't even really remember the heat race. I think there was some attrition, but I actually passed some cars. And I remember when I took the checkered for the heat race, I was like, oh my goodness, I could have just made the A main. Like I knew at that point, and at that time, Darren Pittman's wife Mandy was a good friend of mine, and they were all calculating the points. And I remember them like running over, like, I think you're going to make the A main. That was huge. And of course, I was thrilled, so excited. And my mom is not the biggest sprint car, or she loves sprint cars, but she's not a big racing fan. She's just helped me and supports me. So I called her that night, and I'm like jumping on the hotel bed, like screaming, so excited. I made the Knoxville Nationals. My mom's like, okay, what does that mean? I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So she called my brother. My brother's like, what? We need to get on a plane. So they ended up flying out there.
Oh my gosh, isn't that great?
Yeah, and she loved it. She went back every year I ran, and it was a good story, good family story.
Wow.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Where have you been, under a rock?
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Ran the World of Outlaw Tour, picked up the first World of Outlaw win at Tulare, California.
Yeah.
That's cool,
now,
too.
that's the number one racing memory.
That's the number one racing memory,
yeah.
It's got to be just so amazing to I sit here, this just shows my stupidity, my driving a streetcar and my stock car background. I was just going to think, must be cool looking in the mirror and seeing Steve Kinzer. No, there's no mirrors. I understand that. But to beat the best has to just, it's your career moment.
It was my career. That was the biggest, most proudest accomplishment I have. And actually, I passed one of our guests on today's show for the lead. Yeah. He and Paul McMahon were battling for first and second, and I was in third with only a few laps to go, and I went by both of them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. How about that, Jack? So how about that?
Yeah.
Wow. Man, that's fantastic.
You know what's sad about that? I don't have one picture from Victory Lane, and we haven't been able to locate one picture.
From Tulare, then?
Mm-hmm. I've got a video of it that's kind of hard to even see because it's VHS.
All right,
I'm
Wing Nation.
A youngster. But
Tulare 2004, we need to find a picture of Erin and Victory Lane. There's your assignment for the week.
Yes, please.
There's your
I
assignment.
would love it.
That is fantastic. Wow, that's strange that you don't have one of those.
And I've had the Hall of Fame helping me a lot to locate one. We can't. We've contacted.
Wing Nation can help you.
All right, Wing Nation, step it up.
Our people will deliver. Our
Please.
people. So move forward, do a little bit of stock car racing, end up meeting some guy named Ray.
Yeah.
Okay, you end up married to Ray Evernham, and now you're mother,
Yes.
Erin Evernham,
Yes.
little girl Kate, right?
Yep, born last July.
Wow. How's
9
that all
months
going?
old.
Everything good?
It's amazing. But people have asked me how like exhausting the first few months are, and I'm like, picture how you feel at the end of a speed weeks after you've torn up 3 cars and had to rebuild them in parking lots. Like that's the exhaustion level, and it lasts for like 3 months straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
But it's
that's
amazing.
so exciting.
It's definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Sure,
But
yeah.
it is also the most gratifying and amazing thing to watch a little human.
Yes, it really is. It's fantastic. And I know we, as we go through here on Wing Nation, we talk to a lot of our drivers about their kids growing, and whether it's youngsters like you have, or now when we talk to Paul McMahon about Braden in college.
No, they're so old.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's fun. It's fun following along, and parenting is just an amazing thing. It really is. Well, we are so glad you're here.
Thank you.
And you're going to be here throughout most of the summer.
Yep.
I know there's a few weeks where you've got some other things, but you're going to be here filling in for
Yep.
Kendra most of the
You're
summer.
stuck with me.
No, stuck. That's not a problem at all. We're looking forward to it. Hey, before we move forward, we got to get into the results, but we want to send out a birthday wish. Yes, our boy Kreger, our producer of the show, it is his birthday today. Now, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, you can see a lovely picture of Craig mulleted. We will tweet this out a little bit later on when I get my Twitter machine back. But happy birthday to Craig. Poor old boy is suffering in Las Vegas.
Oh, real tough.
Bless his
yeah.
heart.
Yeah, I'm sure he's quote unquote working.
Yes,
Yeah.
working in Las Vegas. So happy birthday to Craig. Craig is our guy here. We have drivers now. We have drivers now that would prefer to talk to Craig than to Kendra and I.
Really?
You know, yeah, like Hodnett and Terry McCarl, they'll just call Craig at times. Hey, Craig, what's going on? How's it going? You know, so
Well, I hope they saw the mullet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, we
Good
need to make
conversation
sure,
piece.
Oh, need to make sure
Yeah.
T-Mac sees that.
Yeah.
Oh, T-Mac, we got.
That
yeah,
needs to
exactly.
hit Twitter.
You need to yes, it'll get on Twitter. That's for sure. Hey, let's take a look at our Velcro Racing Wheels results page. It has been busy. Knoxville Raceway kicked off last week, season opener. Danny Lasowski, only 107 wins out of
Only.
Knoxville. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Speaking of tired, which you did, Brian Clausen finished second in the 410s and won the 360 race as he continues his circular insanity tour. Have you ever thought of anything that crazy? 200 races in a year?
I did 102 in 1 year.
Did you really?
Yeah. And doubling that seems like having a newborn.
Yeah, like having a newborn, exactly. So there you have it. So congratulations to those guys. World of Outlaws. Friday night, it was the Budweiser Bash in Bakersfield. It was Brad Sweet. Saturday, the SoCal Showdown at Paris, Darren Pittman. And Monday, it was the Napa Wildcat Showdown. It was Darren Pittman. The KKR boys are loaded for bear. Man, they came out of the box strong at Volusia.
Yeah.
And we were all like, well, wait and see. Well, we're still waiting to see anything but them. I mean, I know Donnie's had a few wins along the way, and a couple other guys have won races, but, man, it looks like that KKR bunch is rolling.
Yeah, they started off strong in Volusia last year and then kind of
Exactly.
So this year they're holding, but we all know that Donnie kind of comes on strong.
Well, you get into the summer drier racetracks. We understand that, and I think more importantly, and I know I've talked to Casey about this, and I know we've talked to Darren and Brad about it, they know it too.
Oh, yeah.
So objects in the mirror, to go back to my mirror phrase that don't exist in sprint cars, but KKR, you're enjoying it, but I think the reality is we all know that objects in the mirror are going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Because when we get into summertime, that's when that 15 car just seems to go on a tear. So.
But it'll be fun for us to watch someone really give Donnie a run for their money.
Let's because it does look like they are in better shape than they've been at before.
Yep.
So it looks really good. Arctic All-Star Circuit of Champions, Friday night, Dale Blaney. Saturday night, the Wild Child, Jac Haudenschild. We'll talk to Jack in a little bit. And Sunday, it was Bedford Speedway where Chad Kemenaugh took the win. That one is always interesting because some of the posse guys came over. Yep. So Kemenaugh took the win over Hodnett. So a little Pennsylvania, little All-Stars. National Sprint League, they had a couple of 360 races. Tim Crowley and Don Drought Jr. were winners. Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. How about the Southwest region? Lance Norick scored the win. We talked to Lance about a month ago on our radio program, a former NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver that's made the step up to sprint cars now.
I like that, step up.
The step up to sprint cars.
Nicely worded.
Yes, Lance is having a great time, and he had talked about his struggles this season. Well, the good news is they are over. Brandon Hanks won that one Sunday afternoon at Sedalia. Central Pennsylvania, the Hammer. Doug Esch. Man, I'll tell you, I've said this all along. One of my phrases with Doug Esch is, when Doug Esch is good, Central Pennsylvania is better.
Worried.
Yes, and they're worried. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, worried because he is back together with his old crew chief, and they are just absolutely off to a great start. Esch is going to be a handful. Saturday night, the fabulous Lincoln Speedway, it was Tyler Ross scoring his career first win. So tip of the cap to Tyler Ross. Career first 410 win at fabulous Lincoln Speedway. And at the Speed Palace, it was Greg Hodnett. Well, it's not quite his first win. Not quite his first at all. Other winners, Rico Abreu, Jared Zimbardi, Danny Smith. Imagine that. Danny Smith won again. By the way, Danny will be our guest on Saturday on Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit on MAV TV. You're going to love the conversation we have with Danny Smith. MOA Series, Ryan Button picked up the win. Other winners, Dallas Hewitt. Carson Macedo, the California kid, moving to the Midwest, picks up a last lap pass and a win at Fremont. Andy Priest, Tim Montgomery, Parker Price Miller among the winners, and those are winners and results from the Valco Racing Wheels results page. More information, www.valco.com. Made by racers, for racers, Valco Racing Wheels. Folks, real quick, we want to ask for your help in exchange. We're going to give you the chance to win your own Google Chromecast. In an effort to give you the kind of web programming you want, we're asking you to take a quick online survey. www.mylistenerstudy.com. The survey is completely anonymous and will help us give you more of what you like. And don't forget, enter for the Google Chromecast. Again, that's mylistenerstudy.com, and we really appreciate your feedback and good luck. The Wild Child is with us next. Stay with us, everyone.
Winged Nation with Steve and Erin will return in just a moment on MRN.com.
Classic Ink USA Screen Printing and Embroidery is constantly testing the limits of custom racewear and specialized embroidery. Headquartered in Western Pennsylvania, Classic Ink holds the highest standard, maximizing your return as well as the ultimate customer satisfaction. From track swag fanwear to quick crew wear, Classic Ink has you covered. Their dedicated staff and designers will keep your race team and fans looking sharp. Contact Classic Ink today and get your team ahead of the competition. www.classicinkusa.com. That's Classic Ink, at the track and on your back.
Aggressive Hydraulics, where we engineer the cylinders that move your business. We specialize in crafting hydraulic cylinders and components with superior precision and performance, making OEM products stronger and creating more opportunities for distributors and repair facilities. Crafting cylinders that operate on a global basis in a wide variety of industries and applications. Get aggressive with your cylinder challenges. Aggressive Hydraulics.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gordon. Did you know that 43 children are diagnosed with cancer each and every day? That more children die from cancer than any other disease? Athletes of all ages are dedicating their stats to change these stats, and you can too. Visit JeffGordonChildren'sFoundation.org to become a Kick It champion. No matter what sport, you can use your points, laps, or goals to change the odds for kids with cancer. Make your stats really count. Become a Kick It champion.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gordon, and now back to Wing Nation.
Welcome back. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that. Welcome back from the umpteen-time NASCAR champ and all-around good guy sprint car lover. But joining us now, let's go right to the guest line. It's the Hercules Tire guest line, and he joins us on the Classic Ink pole position. Picked up that win Saturday night. The Wild Child, Jac Haudenschild's on the line. Hello, Jack. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Yeah, good to be here.
Well, it is great to talk to you. Congratulations. Tell us about that win on Saturday night.
Well, it felt good to win an all-star race. We haven't won an all-star race for a long time. I was in Jamie Miller's car, the number 6 car. He's out of Dayton, Ohio, and I drive for Jamie off and on for quite a few years now, and it's nice to drive for him and pick up the win.
Any chance of making that a full-time ride?
Well, Jamie's he don't really run a lot of full time. He don't really want to run full time, but he'll run quite a bit. So this weekend we're running down in Southern Ohio, and we just kind of pick and choose where we go.
Would you are you still are there other opportunities out there? We catch you picking up the ride with the 6 car, and we know Sheldon's running the family car. Do you have some other things that you're working on or lined up as the year unfolds?
Yeah, actually I am. I'm working on a couple different rides right now. I might be in Bernie's car, the 71 car, maybe a little bit this year, and there might be a couple cars, different cars in Pennsylvania I run. So I'm actually working on a couple deals right now, and definitely want to race more than I am now.
How difficult is it for you to balance working so hard on Sheldon's career, but yet at the same time finding yourself rides?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a little hard to start with. I got it going pretty good now, and I got Bonsai and Zach Ames. I got two good crew guys working on his car now, so they pretty much take care of that, and I just help them. I just help them out when I can, and they're running the show on their own.
Jack, you're in a unique spot because you're one of the Hall of Famers and legends, so you look at drivers from one perspective of that, but you're also in the father role. Assess how Sheldon is doing.
Yeah, he's been doing good. He's picking up real good, and he works on the car a lot himself now, and helps the guys a lot, and he's learning how to run the operation like on his own. So I just do what I can for him.
I saw that you had a good battle with him the other night for the lead. What is it like battling that hard with your son?
Yeah, definitely. It's a little different. I kind of try and block that out. That was really the most we got to race together. We started front row together, and I think the dash and the feature. And yeah, it's a little different. When it's my car, I'm starting beside my car, so I kind of just block that out and just race it like I would anybody else.
You mentioned Bonds as the crew chief there for Sheldon. Of course, you had a lot of success. What is there about that? What is there about that really has seemed to work for both you and for Sheldon?
Well, Bonds he's a real laid back guy. He don't get too excited about anything. He's just a good guy to work with. I've worked with him off and on different teams for years. Fordbrook car, Casey Luna car. Yeah. I mean, sometimes he was second guy, but we've always been hooked up one way or another with each other, and I knew he'd be the right guy for on Sheldon's car. Excuse me. and he is. It ended up being good. I made a good choice getting him hooked up with Sheldon.
How hard is it for you, Jack, having a great weekend like you did, basically sweeping the night, to have a bunch of different rides lined up? I know your career, you've driven for a ton of different owners and a lot of different crew chiefs, but how difficult is it to kind of hop here and there into different cars?
Well, yeah, it's not really what you want to do because, a lot of guys, they can't race 60 or 70 races, so you definitely, anymore, you got to pick a couple different car owners and race where they want to race. It is a little bit difficult. You end up, it's a little bit different kind of car or whatever, different motors in everybody's cars and combination of different crew guys. So it's you'd be a lot faster if you didn't have to do that, if you could just stick in one car. So, yeah, it is a little bit difficult.
A little challenging, that's for sure. Jack, so when we talk to drivers, we talk to young aspiring drivers who want to do this or want to do that. If you were put in the optimal situation, in other words, if you could choose, is there a tour? Would you do the World of Outlaws? Would you do a true outlaw tour? Would you do some non-wing stuff? If you were put in the spot where you could choose what you were going to race in a year's time, what would that look like?
Well, I definitely, the World of Outlaws has always been my favorite place to race. That's why I raced most of the years. And, I've always wanted to race with it's fast everywhere you go, but, the World of Outlaws, they're known for the fastest bunch of guys around. And I definitely race with the World of Outlaws, and I still like running non-wing stuff now and then. I don't do it much anymore, but I still enjoy that. So, I wish I could run a little bit more non-wing stuff too.
Jack, when you hop into different rides, how much do you bring as far as setup goes? I know every driver is different, but is there something that you take over when you come to a new team or each night?
Yeah, I try and I kind of know how I like my car and stuff, and I try and get with the mechanic and try and make it, so he listens to me a little bit, or we can get it close. So yeah, I try and bring a little bit with me when it comes to setup.
Well, Jack, before we cut you loose here, Erin is filling in for Kendra. This is Erin's first week, and we were talking about her first World of Outlaw win in Tulare, and she just told us that she blew right by you and McMahon scoring that win.
I didn't
Well,
say
she sure
blew
did.
right by, but I
uh,
did pass him. I'm not gonna lie.
So she passed you.
Yeah, I remember that. Really, I remember that plane. Yeah, we had a good race, and she ended up winning it, and I think I ended up second.
Yeah,
But,
I remember you guys were caught up in some lap traffic, and I remember actually going by them and thinking, "Oh my gosh, did I just pass them? Am I the leader right now? Is this possible?"
Cool.
I remember that well. That was a fun night.
Fun
Yes.
night for sure. Fun night, and the career night. Erin just told us it was her number one career night as far as all of the racing goes. So Southern Ohio, is there anything? And so Southern Ohio this week, are you going to try to get to the big ones throughout the year at Eldora and Knoxville, that sort of thing? Are you working on those as well?
Oh yeah. I'm definitely going to run the Kings Royal, and I don't know what I'll be in for sure, but you know, like I said, I'm going to run Jamie Miller's car. I'm going to run the 71 car. You know, I got my own car that I might run a couple times. So I'm going to be in something.
Well, it's going to be exciting. It really is. And it was exciting on Saturday night as you outdueled your son and then went on to win up at Wayne County. Jack, as always, a pleasure to chat. Congratulations on the continued success, and we'll continue to follow along. But thanks for joining us.
Yep, thank you. Nice talking to you.
There we go. The Wild Child joining us here on the program on the Classic Ink pole position. Classic Ink screen printing and embroidery. Great T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, hats, and all kinds of other items. Corporate, other sports, and of course you can do it for your race team as well, as guys like Brian Brown, Donnie Schatz, Danny Dietrich, Danny Lasowski, Brady Bacon, and other have done. More information at www.classicinkusa.com. That's www.classicinkusa.com. Erin, what I find interesting about that is the translation of the crew chief, Bonds Bruns, has worked with father and son. And there's something about that. I don't know that always happens that way. I don't know that you have that opportunity for it to happen, but that's interesting that it works for both of them.
Yeah, exactly. I guess they probably have similar personalities, and they've both had success. Kind of feel bad that Jack gave up Bonds, but I guess that's what you do for your son.
Well, exactly. That's fatherhood, exactly. We need to step away. When we come back, joining us on the Hercules Tire Hotline will be the driver of the Hercules Tire car, Greg Wilson, joins us next.
Hi, I'm Dale Blaney, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The 25th year of the Lucas Oil American Sprint Car Series is about to begin.
Expanded national and regional tours, over 150 events across the United States, and some of sprint car racing's biggest names and rising stars.
The 25th anniversary of the Lucas Oil ASCS is one you don't want to miss. Find out when the American Sprint Car Series is near you in 2016 at ASCSRacing.com. Find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter,
and get all the action away from the track live at RacingBoys.com.
2 big nights of racing every week at the all-new Jackson Motorplex in Jackson, Minnesota. 3 classes of sprint cars. The NSL 410s, the GoMuddy.com NSL 360s, and the Race Saver 305 sprint cars tackle the big half-mile Friday nights starting on May 13th with the Fokin Brothers Spring Nationals. Be at the all-new Jackson Motorplex every Friday night this summer and mark your calendars now for the 38th running of the Jackson Nationals, September 2nd through 4th.
O'Reilly. If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Powered Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of powered torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Powered Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Winged Nation on MRN.com. Now, back to Steve Post and Erin Evernham.
Welcome back. Erin Evernham and Steve Post here hanging out talking sprint car racing, and we have enjoyed so much over the last couple of years our conversations with Greg Wilson as we watched him move from an all-star Circuit of Champions driver to a World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Car Series driver in his rookie season. Just wrapped up the California Tour. I'm glad we even caught you awake. Greg, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us, and it's good to be out of California.
Yeah, Greg, I understand we're not sitting here and talking about all the wins and everything else. I understand that. How would you assess? Are you getting your footing under you? How would you assess where you and your team are at?
Right now, I give us about probably a C as an average.
Mm-hmm.
We expected this the first part of the year, especially going to a lot of places we haven't seen. the problem for us is that I felt like could be a problem is the logistics. We need to kind of get back to our shop right now and change the race car around and do some things that we're hoping that will help. But we're learning so much. I mean, first off, I want to thank Hercules Tires, Ohio Logistics, DNC Hydraulics, Gear Alloy, and all the people that help put this together to get us out on the road. And, we have great marketing people. We've had a great time doing dealer visits for Hercules Tire. We've had an awesome time meeting the fans. We've met some great people that put me and my family and my team up. So all that is wonderful. We're just going through the growing pains of the World of Outlaw life. I mean, it's definitely not easy. We're excited to be getting back towards some of the tracks that we're used to.
Greg, how difficult is it for you to go to new places like you're talking about? I mean, you've raced around the All-Star Circuit and the Ohio Tour for so many years. What is it like when you pull into a new place?
Well, as you all know, when you have no notebook and you're racing with the best guys in sprint car racing, if you're off a 10th right now, you're in trouble. And we're establishing a notebook. We felt like there's been nights when we've started off bad and still ended up bad, but there's also been nights like last night where we found some of the things that through the night to get better. And not that our results have showed it. We've also been racing on racetracks that have been very narrow, hard to pass, and it's kind of been follow the leader. And I'm not going to make excuses, but in today's world of sprint car racing, these cars are pretty equal, and when the racetracks tend to be narrow like that, it's hard to move forward. We need to qualify better. Is the long and the short of it.
Yeah. No, the new format this year, that certainly would make things a lot easier. That's for sure. Starting up on the front, Greg. When we look at it, and I think the thing that I've enjoyed about our conversations is you've always been honest. You knew this first year was going to be difficult and challenging. When you look at second-year team owner Jason Johnson, who has really picked up his game now and actually picked up his he'd won years back, but picked up a win here recently. When you look at something like that, is that encouraging to you to see that sort of situation, that maybe a year down the road you can find yourself in that spot?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty neat. I mean, to be honest with you, it's funny that you brought up Jason. Last night after the races, we spent about 10 minutes talking and basically, reassured, hey, you're a good racer. You know how to make this stuff work. Just kind of, work through it. And not just him. A number of the teams have reached out and helped. I mean, it's been really neat, that part of it, that, you're the new guy and they don't want you to beat them, but they're willing to help kind of guide you in the right direction. And that's what's really been kind of neat for me to see that. But, yeah, I mean, that's definitely encouraging. I mean, we knew going in, like I said, that this was going to be a year to gain experience, and that we felt like that we needed to be prepared when we get to places that we're used to, and we're hoping we do that. It's a building process. It's no different than business. You go into a new business venture or whatever you do, you got to build it into something, and that's what we're doing. What we're doing now is different than running around home where you can get back to your shop all the time. You got to be more prepared in different ways. The experience is going to help me for the rest of my career. I know that.
Greg, I saw through your social media feed your program with Hercules Tire that you're doing in a lot of appearances, which is awesome, and it's great for sprint car racing. But how is that for a driver? I know when I ran the World of Outlaw Tour, I didn't really have anything else to worry about but racing. And then when I came to race in NASCAR, suddenly I had all these appearances and life became a little more challenging. So I was just curious how that's different for you.
Well, they have been great about basically looking at the schedule, trying to put something together, and then we work through it together, which, if they would just call me up and say, hey, Tuesday you got to be here, and it's 3 hours out of the way, that would make it pretty stressful. But they really, Hercules and their marketing staff has been amazing, and we've learned together, we've grown together, and we hope to continue to do that. So that part's actually kind of refreshing at times, just to kind of get out not think so much about the racing side of it, but just meet people and get to talk about some of the things that that I love about sprint car racing with people that have no idea. So that's been great. Now, the time-wise, it not just that, but just everything in the schedule, as you know, it's hard to juggle and come up with enough time to get everything accomplished. Like I said, that's kind of what we're battling a little bit right now. We'd really like to pull down one of our old race cars and put back together, but it's just me and my wife and Jac Holloway, which they've been working their tails off right along with me. We don't really have enough time now to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part of the game. That's part of learning. That's part of the experience. We're going to change some of the stuff around when we get back to our shop and hopefully make that side of it a little better and bring on one more person and things like that.
Man, it's amazing. It is a huge challenge. Okay, now on the fun stuff, on the side. Now, we've followed along. As Erin said, it was funny. Her and I were chatting this morning and said, yeah, we've been looking at his Twitter feed, been looking at your Facebook, looking at all the social media. It sounds like the Wilson family is having quite the adventure with your wife and kids. Just tell us a little bit about what that's been like on the road traveling with the family.
Well, it's a great experience. I tell you, yesterday, we're doing online schooling with Lily, and it's going great. But I was outside working on the race car, and I came in, and she's like, "Dad, they're talking about Mesa, Arizona in our school online." And I'm like, "Yeah, so?" And she's like, "Well, I've been there." And it kind of hit home, like all these things that we're getting to do. She's old enough, and it's sinking in. Pretty cool. I mean, most people don't get the opportunity to see and do the things. I mean, we got to go to the beach. We got to go to Rico's Vineyard and hang out for a couple of days, so you learn all kinds of things there, and just a number of neat things that we're getting to do. That it's really just a blessing to get the opportunity to do this.
You mentioned that we had Shane Stewart on our MAV TV show, and he talked about the terrible conditions at Calistoga with the rainout where Rico's dad took care of everybody there. Doesn't sound like you guys were in a bad spot considering a rainout, though. It sounds like the Everham Vineyard's a pretty good place to hang out.
Yeah, they're wonderful, wonderful people. And they put us up, gave us a place to park, had plenty of food. You definitely were not going to starve.
Yeah.
And anybody that drinks wine, be sure to go get a bottle of Brady Vineyards wine, because it's amazing. And I'm not a wine drinker, but to be able to be put up like that and to put up with all of us sprint car racers, and all it was amazing. They're great people. It's just unfortunate we didn't get a race, because that was probably going to be one of the neatest places that I would have got to experience so far.
Greg, how excited are you to get back to some of those tracks that you've run, tens and 20 times?
Yeah, I'm excited. We're getting into the part of the schedule that, we felt like that if we could get through the first part, get a notebook, and kind of make some adjustments with our team. I mean, one thing that I think that we're figuring out is that maybe we need to have a little different race deal package for different tracks, more so than like when we ran at home, where we could have 3 engines the same, all the shock packages and the cars the same. There's a reason why these guys adjust and do different things, and until you get out there and experience it, you don't really realize it.
Unbelievable. So when do you roll back into Ohio? Now, I know you're headed to Texas this week, and I know we're getting closer here. Do you have that date start on the calendar when you actually check back in at home?
Yeah, we will get home. I think it is Sunday, May the 8th. I think it is the day after Eldora. I mean, we're on our way to Eldora, but we have racing leading up to it, so we can't even get home before we head to Eldora. So. But yeah, we're excited. We're excited to get back home and get back to the house and it's going to be nice to go on a bike ride and mow the yard for at least one evening.
There we go. No doubt about it. Very, very cool. Well, Greg, as I mentioned at the top, we have enjoyed the journey so much, and we're going to enjoy the wins as they come down the road here so much more because of the journey, the struggle, the fight, the scrap, the claw that you keep doing. But congratulations. You're doing something that virtually every sprint car driver in the world wants to do. You're controlling your team, you're controlling it, and you're running in the premier series, the World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Cars, and we know you're headed in the right direction. So we certainly wish you continued success, and we can't wait for you to get closer so we can see you too.
Well, thank you, and thanks for all you guys do for the sport. I want to say happy birthday to Craig Moore. He's been a lot of fun to deal with and be a part of with Wing Nation. And, the folks at Hercules Tire, none of this would be possible without them. And, like I said, I'm living a dream. I don't know if there's some days that it's a nightmare because of decision making and learning and all that. But like I said, I want to thank the fans, thank everybody for helping me do this and helping my team do this. And we look forward to building and being more successful.
Indeed. We'll talk down the road. Thanks, Greg.
All right. Thank you.
There you go, driver of the Hercules Tire car. That is Greg Wilson joining us here. And, Erin, what we've enjoyed so much is just the frankness, the openness, whether it's the family side or the racing side with Greg. Actually, was at the PRI show where they made the big announcement. It was so much fun seeing the excitement with him, with Mackenzie, his wife, and even with the girls. Not that they really knew what was going on, but they knew something good was happening.
Yeah,
exactly. And I love the fact that when she's there on her online school, she's been to Mesa.
Yeah.
Not many kids get a chance to do that. The other thing I want to talk about, last week we had Brian Brown on the show, and Kendra, I believe, asked Brian something to the effect of, with the funding that you have, with everything in place you have, is there an urge to go World of Outlaw racing? And Brian, again, another guy that just gives a straight up, this is what you need to know about this, said, right now, me and my partners are not ready for the 5 years to establish a World of Outlaw program. And he put it at a 5-year timeline to establish yourself with a program. And I think we see with Greg Wilson what year one of that 5 looks like, because it's challenging. It really is. And Brownie's sitting there picking and choosing and winning races and
building confidence, building.
Exactly. So I just think it's interesting, going back to that conversation with Brian, that it's a 5-year plan, and watching Greg in year one of that plan as he struggles yet finds some progress. And I bet it's going to be a big day on May 8th when they roll it home.
But I think you can see that Greg is truly enjoying it. Like, here's his opportunity. You don't pass up an opportunity to race with the World of Outlaws, and you can tell how much he appreciates the chance.
No doubt about it. He is very, very appreciative. So, hey, that's Greg Wilson. He joined us on the Hercules Tire Hotline, and coming to a tire store near you. He does a lot of those appearances. We try to get on our social media when we catch wind of him and make sure that we let you know where he's coming. But you will enjoy a conversation, whether at the tire store, in the pits, or anywhere else, with Greg Wilson. We need to step away. The All-Star Circuit of Champions, they're headed into Posse Land. And joining us next on the program is the general manager at one of the tracks where they'll race this weekend from Selinsgrove Speedway. Steve Inch will join us next.
Hi, I'm Craig Kinzer, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Racers, that's who Valco wheels are. That's who they know, and racing is what they know. Valco Wheels focuses oval track and grassroots racing, and understand racers need a quality wheel that fits your budget. With over 25 years experience, Valco Wheels produces the best product and give you face-to-face support and customer service at the track. Fast delivery, innovative products, problem solving. Find Valco Wheels at Valco.com on Twitter or Facebook, or call Valco Wheels at 609-758-7013. Valco Wheels.
O'Reilly. If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, it's me, Kansas Speedway. And I'm sorry. Sorry for the barehanded slap of adrenaline and the burnt rubber aftertaste. Sorry other tailgates will seem lame. Yeah, real sorry about that.
It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series GoBowling.com 400. Saturday night, May 7th, Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
Tickets at KansasSpeedway.com.
you're welcome.
This is Tony Stewart. You're listening to Winged Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Having a great time. Erin Evernham and Steve Post here on a Tuesday if you're watching us live. And, of course, you can watch us on YouTube. You can listen along old school, old-fashioned MRN way, or a whole lot of other ways, of course, with all the apps and everything out there, the MRN mobile app as well. One of the things, Erin, we like to talk about here, and I know it's one of your favorite spots, is the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, turn number 2 in Knoxville, Iowa. They're doing the Expand the Dream program, and they continue to expand and successfully expanding. It sounds like they're doing really, really good. One of the things we like to do is we like to cover some birthdays. So birthdays this week. Today, Alan Sir Jr.'s birthday. Tomorrow, Chuck Gurney. We've got Jerry Coons Jr. on Thursday, Dick Atkins and Bob Berman on Saturday. But let's go back to Chuck Gurney. Chuck Gurney is an interesting story. Born in Oakland, California, moved to, actually I like this, and I'm in radio. I love radio. I just do. He grew up listening to Sid Collins call the Indy 500s on radio.
That's neat.
And that was his first passion, where it really came from. Spent time in New Mexico as a child, then returned to the Bay Area. At age 20, he was underage. You couldn't be driving at 21, but he still was able to finagle away into a sprint car and just had a marvelous career. Lots of USAC wins. He spent time in California, then Indianapolis, then back to California. Just umpteen zillion, it seems like, wins in sprint cars and midgets and Silver Crown and super modifieds. Just an amazing driver. He's a member of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Some of his big wins were the Copper World Classic, the Belleville Nationals, and Turkey Night. And he did run a couple IndyCar races, although never made it to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ran some at Phoenix and ran some at elsewhere. Actually ran some stock car races as well. So just one of the legends in the sport, Chuck Gurney. And what we like to share is those are the stories that are held at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. You can find out more information at sprintcarhof.com. That's www.sprintcarhof.com. And when you go to Knoxville or within about 18 hours, it's worth a trip to stop down to the sprint car. Yeah, it is. It's a fantastic place. It is a fantastic place for sure. Now, joining us now on the line, and we'll talk about this a little bit when we get into upcoming races, but the Arctic Cat All-Star Circuit of Champions are headed to Pennsylvania Saturday night, Port Royal. But I'm so excited about Sunday night at Selinsgrove Speedway. Excited because it's a guy that became a friend over the last couple of years. We actually have done radio shows together and kind of hung out at some trade shows and some races together. He's now the general manager at Selinsgrove. That's easy for me to say. Selinsgrove Raceway, Selinsgrove Speedway, that is. Steve Inch is on the line. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Chris, man. It's great to be on with you again, and thanks for the kind words.
Well, no doubt about it. I am so pumped up. And, Steve, it's been, you got the keys to the Speedway late last year, okay? And then Mother Nature has just absolutely been shaking her finger at you. But you got off the ground finally this Saturday night. How would you assess, how are things going in your maiden voyage here as GM at Selinsgrove?
Well, first, man, I could not be happier with the way everything went on Saturday night. It was a beautiful night to go racing. As you mentioned, we were fighting the weather there those first couple of weeks, and Mother Nature finally gave us a break this past weekend that we could get the place open, and it was a great show, a great turnout of race teams and fans, and everybody was just happy to be there. The atmosphere was great, and the racing was fantastic, and again, I couldn't be happier with the way this weekend went. We were keeping our eye on the forecast all of last week, and at one point, Alan Kreitzer and I, we were on the phone, and we were like, we're going to have to do this weekend because the forecast was looking so promising, and again, it was a great show.
So, Steve, I'm kind of embarrassed as a big sprint car fan and racer myself that I didn't know that Joey Chitwood designed Selinsgrove Speedway. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of history there. A lot of cool history,
I didn't know that. Do you
with
have
Speedway.
do you have any of his stuff or have you found any artifacts in the front stretch? I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with Joey Chitwood III, the president of Daytona International Speedway, and I brought the history up to Joey when I had an opportunity to talk to him, and he knew there was a connection with his family and the Speedway because they're from Reading, Pennsylvania. And the story behind it is, Joey Chitwood Sr. Was instrumental in designing the Speedway, and he designed it with straightaway. The front stretch was designed extra wide so he could actually perform his thrill shows at the Speedway. He wanted that extra room on the front stretch, and a lot of people ask, why does Selinsgrove Speedway have such a wide front stretch to it? And
I've
that's
wondered
why,
that
because-
before, honestly. When I've been there, I've been like, oh, it's really wide front stretch.
And there's a funny story. The Speedway opened July 20th of 1946. It was the first race, and Joey was actually scheduled to be there to perform his thrill show. And on the way from Western Pennsylvania into Selinsgrove, the caravan of his thrill show was involved in an accident because of cattle crossing a highway in DuBois. And they never made it to Selinsgrove Speedway for the opener back in 1946. It was an interesting story that we found in some archives.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So when you think of great names in American car culture, I mean, this is beyond racing, because I'm telling you what, there's an era of America. You went and saw the Harlem Globetrotters, and you went and saw the Joey Chitwood Thrill Show. It has got to be surreal to have the keys to that place that he designed handed over to you.
Oh, absolutely, Steve. I grew up at Selinsgrove Speedway. I've been going there probably since 2 or 3 years old. I started working at the racetrack when I was 15. Hate to say it, I just turned 45 this past week. I told the drivers at the meeting this week, I basically spent my entire life there at that racetrack. And, it means a lot to me. I care very much about the racetrack and the guys and ladies who race on it. And, to be handed the keys and to have this great team of people behind the racetrack, we just didn't want to see another racetrack close. And, there was a lot of uncertainty last year. It was almost exactly a year ago when Charlie Page, who had done a great job promoting the facility for the last 15 years, Charlie announced his retirement, but there was certainly a lot of uncertainty that went along with that announcement. And so it was, a pretty long and drawn-out ordeal throughout 2015. Like you mentioned, Steve, it wasn't until late in 2015 when everything got settled and we were finally able to get into the Speedway and start making preparations for this year.
Did by any chance in those artifacts did Charlie leave the chili recipe?
I knew you were going to ask about the chili. I'm not in the chili business right now, although I have thought about doing something like the next best thing to Charlie's chili, or maybe I could come up with my own signature item, like Steve's stew. I don't know, but I knew you were going to ask about the chili.
You knew that. That's one of my favorite things. Charlie, I guess, one of his things, he'd come in and get things started and make the chili. Get the track crew going, get everyone working on the track on Saturday, and he'd go to work making his chili.
So is it a secret recipe?
It's fantastic. I don't know if it's secret or not, but it's fantastic. So it is really, really cool. So, that's not really a shocker that Steve would know. I ask him about that every time we talk along the way. All right, Steve. So, hey, I think it's really cool you were able to, for the first time in 16 years, the All-Stars roll in there. How'd you pull this deal off? And you've got to be pumped up about this weekend.
Yeah, we're really excited. As you mentioned, Steve, it's been 16 years since the All-Star Circuit of Champions have been at Selinsgrove Speedway. And the interesting note there is that we have never had, in the 14 races in the All-Star history at Selinsgrove, a repeat feature winner in All-Star competition. So, a couple of drivers like Greg Hodnett who have won there, and Greg's on fire right now, picking up his 5th win, just this past weekend, and got second at Bedford on Sunday. So, he knows his way around that place. He has 16 career wins. Greg picked up an All-Star win there back in 1998. But just a stellar list of drivers, previous winners in All-Star races at Selinsgrove. We are super pumped and working with Port Royal on this weekend. As you know, they've got on Saturday, and then the whole caravan's going to come in on Sunday. And right now the forecast is looking promising. So it's going to be a sprint car-only show. The gates open at 4 o'clock. Racing scheduled again at 6 o'clock. And our goal is, because it is a Sunday night with one division show, to get everybody in and out as early as possible, knowing that Monday is a work day for most people. So we're really excited about it, and I can't wait for the All-Stars to come back to Selinsgrove this Sunday.
Steve, I'm sure this is the million-dollar question, but I've always wondered, with so many incredible sprint car tracks in such a small radius in Pennsylvania, how do you differentiate yourself, and how do you, have a friendly competition, because you also have to work well with the other tracks?
Yeah, and that's one thing about this deal that came together, Erin, is that there's a really good rapport. I can't think of another time in the history of racing here in Pennsylvania where we have a group of promoters who know each other very well, work together very well. With Scott Bilbrook taking over Susquehanna, Steve O'Neill and I have a very good relationship going back a long time. And, of course, Alan Kreitzer, I have a long-standing relationship with Alan and his family. So at no point that I can think of that we have such a good working relationship with all these other racetracks. I mean, we're going to try to work together as much as possible, obviously, with many of these tracks. Racing on the same night, Saturday night, we can't do everything together, but, weekends like this one coming up, we can certainly work together, and, that's just all the more better for the sport and for the business here in central Pennsylvania.
Really is now not necessarily a sprint car question, and Port is the nearest one, just down Highway 35. But I think you two even have the two of you actually have a back and forth late model series that you've put together. So, like I said, not a sprint car question, but it does look like you guys are working well together on that.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of feedback on that, Steve. There's a lot of excitement surrounding that 6-race series, and actually that's going to kick off this Saturday along with the All-Star race out of Port Royal. That'll be the first of the 6 races in that Route 35 Challenge Series for the late models, and we've gotten so much positive feedback, and a lot of the fans and the teams are excited to see the tracks working together to put something like that, on the schedule, and so we're real excited about that. And again, just trying to look for opportunities to work together with each other.
Yeah, look where you can, but knowing you're both Saturday night tracks, you're running the
Right.
360s on a regular basis, and Steve down there at Port Royal runs the 410s. But weekends like this are really, really cool. Well, Steve, we certainly hope it's so funny. I've talked to you for years and years, and I think this is the first time we've ever talked as much about weather as we ever have. You've become a promoter. Congratulations, because you're watching weather.com or the Weather Channel or whatever it is all the time. But we hope it's sunny skies and great conditions, and we'll be following along and wish you the best this weekend.
Hey, thank you, and I look forward to having you guys visit Selinsgrove again real soon.
Yeah, we'll get up there around Pocono time, I'm sure. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
There we go. That's Steve Inch joining us from Selinsgrove Speedway, and there's just so many good things happening, Steve being one of them.
Yep.
There at Selinsgrove. Alan Kreitzer and working on that
Great guy.
with Mike Hefner, all working together with the other tracks. I know there's a lot of times where Lincoln and Port, one of them will have a big 410 race and the other one will take it off.
Yep.
And, it's like you got to work together, but you can't make it kill yourself either.
That's why I asked that question, and I'm sure there's not a perfect answer for it because that's the $1 million question.
Find
but it's
that
such
balance is what they found.
Always
up there.
wondered how they do that.
Yeah, I mean it's so amazing. It's such a rich area, and Selinsgrove, my gosh, what a great racetrack. So really, really cool. We certainly wish them the best, and it is going to be a big weekend when the All-Stars tangle with the posse. Coming up this weekend at Port Royal and in Selinsgrove. Hey, we need to step away. More MRN Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires coming up next.
Hey, this is Jason Sides, and you're listening to Steve and Kendra on Wing Nation here on MotorRacingNetwork.com. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa.
Honoring sprint car racing's greatest achievers.
25 historic sprint cars on display, a movie theater featuring sprint car racing film, and a breathtaking view of historic Knoxville Raceway. Go to SprintCarStuff.com for the largest sprint car gift shop on the planet. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Hi, I'm Marty Huff. Join me and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert for 1 hour of horsepower Thursdays at noon on the Straight Line. We'll talk to the biggest names in NHRA drag racing and keep you up to date with news from the pits, tracks, and shops across the country. Join us Thursdays at noon for the Straight Line, streaming live on the MRN app, the Motor Racing Network's YouTube channel, and on MRN.com.
This is Winged Nation on MRN.com. Now, back to Steve Post and Erin Evernham.
Thank you so much for joining us. Want to remind you, our friends the Stremmies, David and Ashley, are coming up next with Slingin' Dirt. Speaking of racetracks that are on the resurgence, of course, we talked to Colton Gauss on our weekend program a couple weeks ago, talking about Susquehanna, now Selinsgrove on the comeback trail, if you will. Port Royal was on the comeback trail a couple of years ago. Jackson Motorplex, they are on the comeback trail as well. My gosh, I don't know if you've been on and seen the pictures.
I have.
Holy cow, what Doug Johnson is doing up there.
Major improvements. and
Major.
It's going to be a first-class facility.
It is going to be amazing, and we've talked about season openers, and we kind of failed to talk about season openers, but where they're at up in Minnesota, their season opener coming up on May 13th, and folks, you're going to want to go see the track,
Never mind
let alone
the
the
race.
racing. I mean, it's going to be, and what they're doing on Friday night is they're doing all sprint cars Friday night. And it's going to be 3 divisions.
That's cool.
It's going to be some NSL 410s, going to be 360. There's a non-wing class. There's a 305 class.
Wow.
So they're going to do 3 classes of sprint cars every Friday and their stock car program on Saturday night. So if you're a sprint car fan, well, you just go on Friday. Exactly.
If you like racing, you go both nights.
That's right, exactly. So really, really cool what they're doing up there. Again, opening night at Jackson Motorplex is Friday night, May 13th. Time for our Jeff Gordon Kick It Person of the Week. And Erin, I actually, and this is just recognition for what you and Ray do, is the program that you guys do called Inspire.
Ignite.
I'm sorry. I knew it was. You
Ignite.
just told me
You got
about
the
it,
I
too.
right, yeah.
I did, exactly. Ignite. Tell us about the Ignite program.
It's a little, we call it a clubhouse in Davidson, North Carolina. And it's a place, a community place for adults, young adults with Asperger's and autism. Because high school is tough enough, but there's a lot of programs for kids like 18 and under for autism. I mean, there's not enough, but there's a lot.
Right.
But once over 18, once they're out of high school, a lot of them are lost, and that's a tough time for anyone who's neurotypical, we call them.
That's a tough time for those of us that don't have those challenges.
And autism is really a social disease, you know, quote unquote. So this is just a place that offers classes to teach them about, interviews and if they want to go to college, if they want to get their driver's license. And then they also have a lot of social events. So again, social skills being one of their difficult things, it puts them together, and it's taken off. I think it's our 4th year. We have almost over 80 members, and some of them have kind of like graduated where they've, now they don't really need us. They suddenly are back in college. They've got a full-time job. They, for the first time in life, have moved out of the home. So, yeah, it's a really special program, and it's near and dear to our heart. My stepson, Ray J, has autism or and Asperger's on the spectrum. So, selfishly, we were looking for a place to put Ray J, and we realized there was nothing for him. So, all right, let's try to create a place.
That is so cool. So kudos to you and Ray on that.
Thank
We're
you.
going to name you this week's Jeff Gordon Kick It Person of the Week.
Well,
so,
I appreciate that.
Exactly.
Thank
A
you.
great program that you do there. Hey, let's take a look at upcoming race weekend, where it all started for the World of Outlaws, the Texas Outlaw Nationals at the famed Devil's Bowl Speedway. Yeah, how about that? That's going to be big. Dirt Vision going to have all the coverage on it. So where it all began, they're going back to this weekend to Texas, and there will be a lot of invaders there as well, because a lot of the local racers and folks are anxious to get there. Central Pennsylvania, Williamsgrove Friday night. The fabulous Lincoln Speedway Saturday night, but we talked about it a couple times here along the way. The Arctic All-Star Circuit of Champions versus the Pennsylvania Posse. Saturday night, it's the Keith Kaufman Classic at Port Royal, the Speed Pals. Hey, want to mention, there's a place in Mifflintown called the Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill. Okay? Now, they do wings and steaks and burgers and everything else, but what they're doing from noon to 3 is they're having a big racing block party. They're going to have an internet broadcast on Juniata County Radio, but they're doing, all the drivers are going to be there. Keith Kaufman's going to be there. I think Hodnett's going to be there.
That's cool.
Some of the All-Stars are going to be there, and so it's going to be neat. It's the Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill in Mifflintown, honoring the man from Mifflintown. Keith Kaufman, that's at noon, and of course the racing on Saturday night. Sunday, Selinsgrove Speedway. Knoxville Raceway, a complete program Saturday night, round number 2 for the 410s, 360s, and 305s. MOA Series Friday night in Jacksonville, Illinois. Northern Outlaw Sprint Association, they kick off their 2016 season at River City Speedway in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And our friends at the IRA Bumper to Bumper Tour, they're in action at Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. 410 racing this weekend, Friday night, Attica, Lernerville, and Silver Dollar. Saturday night, oh my gosh, Atomic, Fremont, Mercer, St. Francis County, Wayne County Raceway, and Danny Smith shared with us, they're popping up in Ohio all over the place, so there's probably 6 other tracks running on Saturday night in Ohio. That area is just exploding with race cars and racetracks. Lucas Oil ASCS Regional Racing, Red River Region in Humboldt, Kansas. The Red River Region and Warrior Region team up on Saturday in Springfield, Missouri. Southwest Region is at Central Arizona Speedway. The next National Tour race, Thursday night, May 5th at Lakeside Speedway, and the National Sprint League, GoMoney.com 360s. They are in business, Rock Rapids, Iowa, at the Rapid Speedway on Friday night. The next 410 National Tour race is May 6th at I-80 Speedway. Wing Nation weekend, Greg Hodnett going to join us, and Wing Nation on MAV TV, presented by Sage Fruit. Danny Smith joining us. We are in that time of year where I need to catch a breath before we get in.
I was thinking that.
You know, we get used to it, and it's like, well, yeah, there's 3 races going on. Now all of a sudden we got 2.5 pages full of races. So it's an exciting time of the year, and it's going to be so much excitement this year, filling as you fill in for Kendra,
I'm very excited
hanging
about
out
it.
and following along, and we'll be on social media having some fun and
Absolutely.
texting and tweeting and finding out what's going on. But thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There we go. Erin will be back with us next week and each and every week across the board. We want to appreciate our thanks to Jac Haudenschild, Greg Wilson, and Steve Inch. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us on Wing Nation by
You've been
Hercules
listening
Tire.
to the nation's premier winged sprint car radio program, Winged Nation. Tune in next Tuesday at noon for more talk from the dirt tracks. Winged Nation is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. Winged Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.